to our podcast, Someone You Know. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Emily.
And we're your hosts. So we just started this podcast. Our first episode was on Jodi Arias, and that went pretty well. We started an Instagram, a TikTok, a YouTube, and it's all Someone You Know podcast. So go ahead and find those online. And we just want to say thank you. We've gotten some really great feedback. It's just exciting, and we just really appreciate you guys listening. I think we got like 50 listens on our first podcast, so I'm excited. I think this one will get a lot more just because people are so angry about this asshole. And yeah, so I posted a video of Chris, and it's right after his family goes missing, and he's doing an interview on his front porch, and all of his body language, I edited it, and you can really see he's gulping a lot and rocking back and forth. It's just ridiculous. So that got like 15,000 views. Today we're going to be talking about a very well-known case of Chris and Shanann Watts. They lived in Frederick, Colorado. From the outside, they looked like they had everything together. They had two beautiful little girls, Bella and Cece, 4 and 3, and then they had another baby on the way, Nico. And they had a nice home, and Shanann was very active on social media, portraying what seemed like a very happy life. But behind closed doors, things were falling apart.
Shanann was born on January 10th, 1984, to Frank and Sandra Ruchek. She has a younger brother, Frankie Jr., and their family was very close-knit. Shanann was always described as outgoing, ambitious, someone who was very determined. She even bought her first house at 25, which I think is a huge accomplishment.
Yeah.
The economy was a little bit different, but still, like, way to go, her. That was amazing.
Huge accomplishment.
Shanann met Chris when he sent her a Facebook request, and unfortunately, she accepted.
Yeah, unfortunately.
She said, "What could happen?"
Oh my gosh.
Don't be adding people you don't know. And at the time that he sent her a Facebook request, she'd kind of been going through a tough time. She had gone through a difficult divorce and had just been diagnosed with lupus. 2 years later, they got married. Shanann worked for an MLM. We're seeing a theme here with...
Yeah, Jodi. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And Travis.
They
did the MLM
All
for
MLMs.
legal prepaid services. And then, yeah, this one is Thrive. It's a, like, supplement.
Yeah.
Weight loss thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Different powders that you put in your drink and...
Yeah, I also saw she had, like, patches.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the patches.
So,
yeah. Interestingly, she even had Chris join Thrive also, so he could, like, work under her, and she would have more people under her.
oh my gosh.
And then she was running his whole thing. So he wasn't even doing any of his own work.
Yeah, she would post videos all the time on, like, Facebook, just, like, getting to know people and, promoting the Thrive. And she had him in some of the videos, and he looks very uncomfortable and unhappy in all of them. Like, he doesn't want to be there, and he's just annoyed.
Yes, yeah. And I don't think it's so much that he's uncomfortable being on camera. I think he's annoyed with her, is what it comes across as. Is he's so bothered that she's making him stop what he's doing and be around her, and it's very unfortunate because she seemed like such a nice, happy person, and then she's got this grump pants. And from everything Shanann posted on social media, I mean, we know that everything can be very curated and that you're only seeing
what they
the
want you to
highlight
see.
reel, right?
Yeah.
And so from the outside, it looked like they were a nice, happy family and everything was going very well. But it was a different story, unfortunately, on the inside.
Okay, so this next section is very short. We couldn't find a lot on Chris's background, him growing up, his childhood, things like that. But what we do know is that Chris Watts was born on May 16th, 1985 to Ronald and Cindy Watts, and he has a sister named Jamie. Chris also said that Shanann was not attracted to him when they met, and even told him that he was not her type, so I'm not really sure why he continued or how that worked out.
Well, and she even talked about it on social media, like, she was like, I rejected him, and he kept pursuing me, like...
I think he just wants what he can't have. So in this case, then he finally got it, and then he's bored with it, so he wants what he can't have now, which is a mistress. Yeah, so Chris said that he was initially intimidated by her confidence and her outgoing personality because he was very quiet and reserved. But that's a choice.
And the choice to be with somebody that has a different personality, which is, it's fine. Like, maybe you can complement each other. But
it can work.
To be with someone who has a different personality and then be resentful of that or angry about it, like, you know what you were getting into. Why did you make this choice?
Exactly.
So right from the beginning, Chris's family did not approve of Shanann, which I think is just wild considering what happened. They would have the problem with her and not her family that had a problem with him. They were actually very welcoming of him. But yeah, his mom and his sister did not like Shanann from the very beginning. It was constant problems, even to the point that his father, mother, and sister did not attend their wedding.
Which is insane. And you know what I read about why they didn't like her? She was taking him away.
Right.
I'm sorry, he's a grown fucking man.
Mm-hmm.
So they moved to Colorado together, and that was part of the issue. That's such a weird way to look at your child. Wouldn't you be excited for them to find a partner and have a life? But no, his mom was also very domineering, which is very interesting, very outspoken person. Kind of, I wouldn't call Shanann domineering, but...
Right. But it's interesting that she had a problem with another person who had a strong personality. Like, she wanted to run the show, she wanted to be the only one, and it's also, like, very enmeshed and also, like, a little incestuous that the mom and sister were like, you're taking him away from us. Like, Shanann is the other woman when she's his wife.
Which, that's so confusing to me when people act like that, because there's certain roles that people have. No one can take away that you're his mother. Right. No one can take away that you're his sister. Nobody else can fill that. And same with being a wife. They're different roles. There's no reason to be jealous because they're different roles, and you're special in your own way to this person. So yeah, it's just kind of gross. And like you said, incestuous.
Very gross.
Yeah.
Like, what could you be jealous of if not that they have like a more intimate relationship than you do? And it's disgusting.
Freaking weird.
So none of the three of them were there at the wedding. The only family member of Chris's that was at their wedding was his grandmother. So that was kind of a rocky start. And even like looking back, Shanann said that was like the first time that they had a hard time in their marriage was at their wedding, or after their wedding, I'm sorry, because his family was so upset about their wedding and didn't attend. Then after the wedding, Chris acted all distant with Shanann. Like he was
like she did something
punishing
wrong.
Her, right?
That's
because
crazy.
I'm sure his family was like laying it on him about how they were not happy about him marrying her, and then he in turn is taking it out on Shanann, which is unacceptable. So it seemed like it was kind of rocky time after rocky time, because then in 2015, after they'd only been married a few years, they had to file bankruptcy. They owed over $448,000 between their mortgage, credit card debt, and medical loans. And then they additionally also had student loan debt on top of that, which can't be discharged by bankruptcy. So they still had that hanging over their heads even after the bankruptcy was filed. In 2018, they had been together for 8 years. They have 2 children, Bella and Cece, and a baby on the way. And Chris is now working in Colorado as an operator at Anadarko Petroleum. So he's working out in the oil field. Things start looking better for them financially. And from the outside, especially the way that Shanann presented herself and her family on social media, because it's part of her brand, it's part of her job, it did look like they were a very happy family. And she's even posting online multiple times a day. So even people who weren't like super close, I think, felt like they had a lot of insight into their life because they're seeing these in-home shots and the kids like all the time.
Yeah, and I think that's why it blew up so much, because so many people felt like they, kind of liked her, loved her in a way. Through social media, and it's just really sad.
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like she went kind of above and beyond with her post to make it look like, their family had it all, and part of being in an MLM and recruiting other people is to present this front that you're still successful and you're doing so well, even if that is not actually the case.
Not a persona, she's showing the highlights of her life.
Yes, definitely highlight reel. She's also traveling a lot for work and then personally with the family, and so they're showcasing all their travels and everything like that online. But they did have a beautiful home, and the kids were very happy, and Shanann was constantly posting about how much she loved her husband and her family. Unfortunately, underneath the surface, their marriage was getting rocky, and not a normal rough patch in a marriage rocky. Chris has completely checked out, and just doesn't seem to care anymore. There are text messages between her and her friends talking about how she's like desperate for affection, desperate for his attention, and he just will not give her the time of day. There were even like a few times throughout the later part of their marriage where she's like very openly trying to like, you know, start something, you know, seduce him a little bit, and he is just not interested. Like he gets out of the shower, she's naked on the bed, and he just is like, I'm going to sleep.
Just a theme throughout this whole thing is just Shanann, she's desperately trying to make her marriage work, which is just so sad. She's working so hard, but you can't fix something if the other person doesn't want to fix it with you, unfortunately.
Right.
And she probably was trying so hard too because she had just gone through a divorce. I don't know the circumstances around that one specifically, but, you know, I'm sure it was hard, and she probably didn't want to go through that again.
Right.
So.
Well, and this relationship was different. Now she has children. Like her first marriage, there were no children involved, and I think that makes it a lot easier to just be like, well, it's not working.
Yep.
Like, let's take a break and leave. But once the kids are involved, it's not just that it makes it more complicated, but then it's the children are impacted as well, and they have another baby on the way, and so there's all these pressures on Shanann to like scramble and make this relationship work, and no matter what she does, Chris is just drawing farther and farther away.
Yeah.
And she's very confused because, you know, she's trying so hard to be closer with him. It's just not working. This is not how it's been previously in their relationship. They had a more intimate marriage, and so she's confused about what's happening, and so she'd ask him over and over again, you know, are you having an affair? Is there somebody else? Like, what's going on here? Help me understand. And over again, he tells her, no, there's no one else. I'm not having an affair. Nothing's going on. You don't need to worry. You know, I love you so much. Everything's great. But it's just lip service. He's not actually putting that effort back into their relationship, and nothing is really getting better.
So now we're going to talk about he was having an affair. And interestingly enough, I saw yesterday, it just came out, somebody else is claiming to have had an affair with him before this famous affair with Nicole Kessinger. So I haven't dived...
Amanda McMahon, I think is her name.
Yeah, I haven't dived too deep into that, but there was just a few highlights that were interesting that she's claiming that he was into really rough sex, and then also that she had a prescription, some kind of opioid, I'm guessing, and he would hit her up asking for it. So there's the possibility of some drugs being involved in this, but it's hard to know. This just came out yesterday, so if there's updates, we're gonna call it Current Chaos.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like a little episode of some like brand new news stories, things that are happening currently in between our podcasts.
Yeah.
So if anything more comes up with that, we will give you guys an update. But yeah, I just saw the one article on it. But we do know that unfortunately Chris had begun having an affair with his coworker Nicole Kessinger. So this relationship began while Shanann was pregnant with their third child. And Chris, he's just the definition of a pussy. He's unhappy, but he won't leave his wife. He won't say anything. She's begging him to tell her, like, what's wrong, you know, how can we fix this? And he won't say or do anything to change the situation, but at the same time, he's getting resentful. So he rarely argued, he rarely pushed back, he just went along with whatever Shanann wanted. But unfortunately, over time, that started to build up. So instead of communicating, Chris would shut down, and instead of just talking about things, he just decided to start living a completely separate life. So this is where the story really starts to change. Chris and Nicole start seeing each other 4 to 5 times a week, which is a lot. That caught fire very quickly.
Yeah.
He tells her, supposedly, that he is in the process of a divorce and he's sleeping in the basement.
Which was not true.
Yeah, very not true. We're just not sure if he actually told Nicole that or if she's just saying that. So at this point, Shanann still believes that they're trying to fix their marriage, or, I mean, at least she is. Chris is being sneaky. He always pays for the dates with Nicole through gift cards so that Shanann won't find out. And apparently he had a stockpile of gift cards he got for rewards through work. So he quickly went through all of those. And yeah, he supposedly told Nicole Kessinger that he was separating from his wife. And when Shanann went on a 6-week trip to visit some family, Chris and Nicole spent the entire time together. And during this time, he told Nicole that the divorce was final and they could officially start the relationship.
so terrifying to think that for Shanann being in that situation, that her husband is completely betraying her, telling all these lies, like starting this new life, but then also doing nothing to end things with her, doing nothing to be transparent with Shanann. Like, they know that they're pregnant with their new baby, and she's talking about how she's excited and she loves him so much, and he's texting back, I love you too, and he was probably with Nicole at that time. Like, it's just so frustrating that there was no transparency. If he had just been clear, I think Shanann would have said, fine, you know, I'll give you divorce, whatever. Like,
yeah, I think if he had actually brought it up, you know, yeah, divorce sucks, but sometimes you're better off getting divorced, like, especially in this situation. And
we'd like to live.
If you're,
and I promise you, every woman feels that way. So
yeah, I think every woman would rather get divorced than get murdered.
Yes. So during that 6-week trip, Shanann and the girls flew with her father back to North Carolina. So they're seeing family, friends. Her parents are there, Chris's parents are there, and they had lived there for a time before, so they know a lot of people that they want to visit. It was quite a long trip, quite a lot of time with Chris's family, I think.
Which, props to Shanann. I don't know if I would be intentionally spending that much time with somebody who refused to come to my wedding.
Right. It just seemed like insult after insult after insult.
And
I was on Shanann's side the whole time.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what that conversation looked like, because obviously they weren't really in contact, or I don't know, maybe they argued, and then I'm wondering what the in-between looked like, and then it's like, oh, let's come visit. I think she was doing it for the girls.
Yeah.
Which, good for her, that's a good mom.
Mm-hmm. Very good mom.
But yeah.
It's so hard because you want to do the right thing for your kids, but then also you have these demands from other family members that are obviously just selfish people and they're not doing it for the girls. They want it for themselves, and that makes it so difficult. And that really became apparent during this trip. There was an incident that became known online as Nutgate, which is ridiculous. Little Cece had a very bad tree nut allergy, which you have to be very careful about. And as her grandmother, she should have been aware of this. They happened to have pistachio ice cream in the freezer at Chris's parents' house, and one of the other grandkids knew where the ice cream was kept. It must have been like a low chest freezer, bottom of the fridge thing, and she went over there, pulled it out, and is having some of the pistachio ice cream. And Cece was right next to her and could have easily, scooped it. She's only little.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
That's ice cream. I like ice cream. She doesn't know that she has to be safe and that it's going to be dangerous for her. So it's like incumbent upon the adults to be responsible for that. And Shanann, I think very understandably, got upset that there was pistachio ice cream in the house, that it was somewhere that was accessible to small children, that it got taken out while little Cece was there and it was right next to her little face. Like, I would be very upset as well.
Yeah, as a grandparent, I would remove the allergens from the house for those weeks that they're there. Like, it's not that hard.
I feel like even if they had just bought the pistachio ice cream, you throw it away. Like, it doesn't matter. You lost $10, $15. Even if the nicest ice cream possible can't cost more than that. Right? And
that's just insane.
And so Shanann, of course, gets upset and is upset that Cece's safety was not being taken into consideration. And then in return, Cindy is upset at Shanann, and his sister Jamie was also upset at Shanann for being upset at Cindy.
Is nobody thinking about Cece?
No, obviously not. And it sounds like it turned into a yelling match, which again, understandable, because Shanann is upset about this, and then everybody is upset at Shanann for being upset. And not
she just doesn't want her daughter to die.
That is so a serious safety issue, and Cece's only little. Like, it might be different if a child was much older, or a teenager had an allergy, or someone who was old enough to understand. I still think it would be inappropriate to have that stuff in the house. Yeah. But apparently it turned into a screaming match, and Cindy told Shanann she had to leave.
Oh my goodness.
A roller coaster of a day, I'm sure.
Yep.
So after that, Shanann said she didn't know if she felt comfortable having the girls around Chris's parents.
Understandable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, go Shanann. Yeah, if you can't be a family member who can keep little kids safe, you don't get the privilege of being around them.
That's
Bye.
the number one thing that you need to do when caring for a child, is keep them safe and alive.
Yeah. Well, and care about their safety and hopefully like their happiness and comfort more than your stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the ice cream should have
it's so trivial.
It should have been a nothing burger. Like it should have been
a
no
nothing
big deal.
Burger?
Yeah. You never heard that before?
No.
Yeah, it's just like a nothing. Like, oh, that, like, what should have happened is Sandy should have been like, oh my gosh, I forgot that was here. I'm so sorry. It was where the other grandkids could get to it. Like, I can't believe that happened. I'm gonna throw it away right now, wipe up the area, like, we'll make sure nothing's out. Let me just double check in the fridge and in the pantry that there's nothing else that could be a problem. Yeah. That would have been the response. And then Shanann would have felt like, oh, you know, no big deal. You know, it was an accident, but you get it. Like, you're willing to make this a safe environment for my children. I'm happy to bring them back here.
Yeah, it was just such a small thing.
Yes.
That was blown way out of proportion.
Yeah. Just unbelievable. And then I feel like they just like double and triple down. Like, they weren't ever willing to back off. And so Shanann reaches out to Chris and is like, hey, you need to talk to your dad about what happened with your mom. Because I guess they didn't want to do any direct confrontation in this family.
Well, it sounds like there's no getting anywhere if you try.
Right. So Chris says, oh yeah, this is unacceptable. You know, that's too dangerous for Cece, or, you know, something that made it sound like he was on Shanann's side and said that he would talk to his dad. But it sounds like from what happened after, his parents, probably his mom, gave him a hard time about being upset with them as well. And once again, just like what happened after his family didn't come to their wedding, Chris gets really distant. And Shanann is like, what's happening? I'm trying so hard. He's pulling away. He won't even talk to me. I just don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, Chris is very submissive. He can't stand up to anybody, especially women. And his mother is the original woman in his life. Right. And so I guess she came before his wife, which is insane.
Yeah, especially your children. But I think, you know, also your wife most of the time, and at least in this situation, should have come before his parents. Like, that's just...
Yeah, flabbergasting.
My stance is Shanann did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And every relationship can go through their hard times or have their problems, but you have to work on it. You have to be present, voice your issues, and actively work with your partner. Shanann was really trying, but Chris was giving her the cold shoulder, and you can't just try by yourself. So they're kind of arguing, but it's not a full-blown argument yet. And I think part of that was especially because, like, Chris is just refusing to engage in a conversation.
Well, also what I've seen is he would just say things like, oh, yes, honey, you're right. Mm-hmm. I'll do better. But then he wouldn't. So how frustrating. Right. Like, I think he was trying to get her off his back.
Absolutely. Like, just lip service to get this conversation to end. Like, what do I have to do to get you to leave me alone?
Yep.
Which is really devastating when that's supposed to be the person that she should be able to, like, trust and rely on the most in the whole world, and he's just leaving her out to dry.
He's giving her nothing.
Yeah. And a big part of that was because he had already started his relationship with Nicole Kessinger. While they were gone, he took his mistress, Nicole Kessinger, to a restaurant called the Lazy Dog. And at this point, they've already gone through all the gift cards that he had saved up and had apparently never used on Shanann.
Wow.
I noticed that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They could have been going on date, working on their relationship.
Yeah.
But he's saving them up and not using them for anything, and then Nicole comes along, and then he's like, oh, let's go out all the time. We've got all these gift cards. Maybe.
Maybe he was planning to have an affair and just waiting for the right person.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like he met Nicole through work, and so they were like friendly through work for a while before the relationship started. It was at least a few months. Like, he knew who she was and was they were in each other's orbit. So I do think that there was some planning and some lead up. Yeah. Especially since he knew that this big trip was coming up. And this was kind of his opportunity. Because that's one thing I wondered. It was like, okay, you have a wife and small children at home. How are you getting away and doing all this stuff? Like, does no one notice that you're gone all the time? Well, no, because he wasn't doing any of this until Shanann and the girls were out of town. And so there was nobody at home to be missing him or need his help or...
Yep.
It's just so weak and so sneaky.
Yeah.
And so when they go to the Lazy Dog, he ran out of all of his gift cards, right? So this time, instead of paying with a gift card, he pays with his credit card, which, what an idiot.
That's the thing that was interesting to me. I think he knew what he was going to do at this point, and so he didn't care.
Yes.
Anymore.
I think he didn't care.
He was done hiding.
It is a little bit hard to tell exactly what the timeline is, but I kind of think that going to the Lazy Dog happened after Nutgate, and just such a stupid name. But Chris even said in an interview that Nutgate was so bad that he felt like his relationship with Shanann had to end after that because he felt like there was no way his family would ever accept her again. Which is just wild to me. Like, you made a commitment to this person, you've started a life together, you have children together, you have a responsibility to those children, and he is more worried about what his parents think and what will make his parents more comfortable. And it's just disgusting.
That's crazy.
Like, this is the alternative to going no contact if you're on the fence. Oh my gosh. So he uses his credit card at the Lazy Dog. He didn't use a gift card. He didn't pay cash. Like you said, he was done, and I think it was deliberate. And I think we see this pattern of him being so passive and so mealy-mouthed kind of, and not really being able to say anything or stand up for himself or even say what he wants from the relationship, that I think that was his way of saying something. His bit of putting that out there and then getting Shanann to respond to it and say, hey, why are you here? Why did you pay for dinner for 2 people? Are you cheating on me? What's going on? Yeah. It's just so gross that he was never able to take charge at all in his relationship. And he even said later that that's why he liked Nicole so much, was because, first of all, she pursued him. That did not happen with Shanann because she wasn't even attracted to him. She was like, I'm not into it. You're gross and sloppy. Get away from me. She thought he was very sloppy on their first date. And then she said he was not her type. So she was funny. Physically just not into it at all. Nicole did actively pursue him, and I think that made him feel like a big man or whatever. And also he said he felt like he could take charge more in his relationship with Nicole. And the example that he gave was just so stupid, because he said he would say to Nicole, he was like, well, one time I said to Nicole, this movie is at this theater. You want to go see it? And she said, sure. And just like that. Like, what is this, middle school? That's how a date works. You've never done that before, right? That's how a conversation with your spouse works. Like, if he had been talking to Shanann and told her, like, hey, there's this new restaurant. Do you want to go have dinner there? I bet she would have loved that. I bet she would have been like, thank you, Jesus, that for one time I didn't have to wear the pants and take charge of this relationship and the romance. Like, for once, Chris is doing something. Yeah, he didn't even try with her. That's crazy. No, he did not try at all. Because I don't think there's any woman in the world who would be offended being asked by, like, hey, would you like to go do this with me? Like, no, maybe that's not my favorite thing, but, like, yeah, I want to spend time with you. Of course I'll go do it with you. Like, just such a butthole. So angry with him. So the plan was, during this 6-week trip, that Shanann and the girls are out in North Carolina, and then for, I believe, the final week of the 6-week trip, Chris comes out to be with them and also see his parents. Yeah. I guess he couldn't get time off work. It's not really super clear why he couldn't be there. It was quite an extensive trip, so maybe that would be why. But before he leaves, he gives Nicole a love letter, and then Nicole starts looking at wedding dresses online after this happens. So it seems like their relationship is, like, really escalating, and it's like a 6-week time period that they have been really seeing each other. And Chris even said later in an interview that their relationship lasted about 6 weeks. That is just such a short time. Even if you're single and totally unattached and you meet someone and you're together for 6 weeks, I don't think you should be making any big decisions after 6 weeks. Like nobody's had... You haven't gone through anything. You haven't learned anything about each other. Like, nobody's had a flat tire. Nobody's cried about anything. Like, everybody's on their best behavior. It's the honeymoon period. Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, if it's a crazy person, they haven't dropped their mask yet. Like, don't rush in after 6 weeks. And when Chris arrives in North Carolina, he gave Shanann one kiss, like a quick peck on the lips at the airport, and then he did not kiss her or touch her ever again during that trip, which devastated her. She's like, we've been apart for 5 weeks, and I think they maybe had not had sex right before they left. So she even told her friend, like, it's been 5.5 weeks since we've had sex. I don't understand why he's not interested. Like, what's going on? Is it me? Like, do you think maybe he was getting it somewhere else? And a friend was like, oh no, he's not that kind of guy. You know, just trying to be a good friend and reassure her. But unfortunately, she knew exactly what was happening. And yeah, he was getting it somewhere else. And that's why he wasn't interested in Shanann anymore. And he even told investigators later in a prison interview that he almost felt like he was cheating on Nicole at that point, being affectionate with Shanann. His wife.
What?
Yeah.
What a twisted way of thinking.
Yes.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Just so sad. So again, while they're on their trip, she tries to come on to him. He pushes her away, and so she asks him again, what's happening? Is there someone else? Are you cheating? He denies it, but we all know what was happening. And he just plays dumb. And like we said, just gives her lip service, says whatever he has to say to get out of the conversation, make everything end. Like, he doesn't want to have any confrontation at all, and he still wants to do everything he wants to do on the other side. Just really sad, especially after everything that had happened with his parents and Nutgate, and then she's there by herself, and she's also pregnant, 15 weeks. Like, she might be having really bad morning sickness, be really tired, like, and have 2 little kids to take care of, and then you're being treated terribly on top of it, and your husband shows up and he's a butthead. Like,
yeah, and I'm sure she has pregnancy hormones and all of that. Like, that's just horrible.
Yeah, and he just has no thought for, like, what Shanann needs or how he can support her or anything. Yeah. He's just on his own little Chris planet thinking about himself.
Crazy work.
Yeah.
When Shanann tells Chris that she's pregnant with their 3rd child, she does it through a Facebook video. I don't know if it was live or if they just recorded it and posted it, but she looks tense and he is not overly excited. Like, you can tell that there's some conflict going on, that it's just a little awkward. And in fact, Shanann later texts a friend saying that Chris said to her that he is scared to death to have another baby, which that's crazy.
It's such crap, because this was not an accidental pregnancy. They deliberately were having unprotected sex to get pregnant and have a baby.
Yeah.
And then he acts like this. Like, they talked about it, and I guess Chris was just surprised that it happened so fast, because with their other 2, they'd had to try quite a bit. But that's no excuse. Like, if you didn't want a baby, say, when we're talking about having a baby, no, I don't want a baby.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
He couldn't ever speak up and say what he wanted.
Right.
Which is insane that he let it go this far. Yeah. To get pregnant with a child that he didn't want.
Yes. And now there's a whole other human involved. Like, it's just wild behavior.
Yeah. So, just Shanann's texting her friends, you know, they're getting the hints that things are not going very well, and so her friend suggests that Chris might be having an affair, and Shanann says she's already asked and he denied it. You know, what else can you really do? So Chris and Shanann decide to name their new baby Nico, and Shanann leaves for a work trip. She goes on a lot of trips.
I think this must have happened after Florida. It's so hard to tell the timeline for some of this. It's very muddled, and then a lot of it is coming from Chris, and, like, he's just a liar, so it's...
Yeah, well, okay. So back to the charge at the Lazy Dog Bar and Grill. Shanann had seen that charge for, it was like $62 or $63, and Shanann's best friend is also named Nicole. So let's not get her mixed up.
Right, we have a good Nicole and a bad Nicole.
So Chris's mistress is named Nicole Kessinger, and Shanann's best friend is Nicole Atkinson. So Shanann and her best friend Nicole Atkinson, they're being little detectives. I love this. They look up the actual menu, because Chris was giving her a story of, oh, I got the expensive salmon and I got these specific beers. So they look it up and it's like $30. It's not $62. So he's also just a horrible liar.
Which is so insulting. Like, please.
Yeah, women
if you're
are
gonna
smart.
lie to me, please make it a good one.
Yeah, like...
Not something that I can click Google and find out that you're wrong. Like...
Yeah. He's so dumb.
He is so dumb. Well, that's the thing. I think he thought that was a very clever lie, because he is such an idiot. But it's still insulting.
Yeah. So, something interesting that Chris did was he slipped Shanann an oxycodone in an attempt to induce a miscarriage. So, obviously it didn't work. And Chris refused to tell police where he got the oxy from since nobody had a prescription in his family. It's suspected that possibly Nicole was the one who got this for him. Some phone records show Nicole calling Chris, calling a medication/prescription related number, and then calling Chris again. Another thought that I have is that news story that came out.
The new mistress, exactly. I think that's why the prescriptions are important.
Yeah, she said she was giving him some, I don't know if it was oxy exactly, but some kind of prescription medication, so could have been left over from that.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been from the new mistress, Nicole. Right. We don't know.
And this new mistress that just came forward, I guess her name did come up in several of the police reports. So I'm very interested to learn more about it, because that like kind of legitimizes it. There were a lot of people that came out of the woodwork and said like, oh, I hooked up with Chris. I had an affair with Chris. And most of them could not be substantiated. Like maybe we did hook up with some of these people, but they didn't have any proof of it. So it's hard to tell if he did have other people or not. I mean, you would kind of think so, right? But but it's hard to prove it. Yeah,
so what was interesting too and kind of legitimized it a little bit for me was reading that, because I was like, why wouldn't, like, because she said she didn't tell police this stuff, because I guess she was interviewed, but I found out that she was going through a divorce at the time and a custody battle.
Oh, yeah. So then she had to protect her kids. Like,
yeah, so basically she said, if I came out and was Chris Watts' mistress, my ex is going to use that and take my kids away.
Yeah, full custody to dad.
So that made sense to me, why she didn't come forward.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm very interested to see.
And like, very sadly, at that point, Shanann and the girls and baby Nico are all dead. So coming forward might have given her family like a little bit more closure, but it wouldn't have saved anybody.
Yeah.
So,
and he was,
I think it's more understandable to stay quiet at that point.
Yeah.
When Shanann gets back from that final work trip to Arizona with her best friend Nicole Atkinson on October 3rd of 2018.
October.
Oh, August
13th.
Yep.
October 3rd is not from the Mean Girls where she's like, it's October 3rd.
October 3rd, he asked me what day is it? And I said, it's October 3rd. Sorry.
Did you watch Mean Girls recently?
I always post that meme on October 3rd.
Really? Okay, that's so funny.
It's Mean Girls Day. Let's start over.
Okay.
Shanann had her final business trip to Arizona with her best friend Nicole Atkinson and got home on August 13th, 2018. The next morning is when the murders happened. She is seen on their front doorbell camera walking into the front door, and we're going to share that image on Instagram so you can see that. Shanann was desperate for their marriage to work, and she's been feeling very lonely lately, desperate for affection, and doesn't want to go looking for it outside of her marriage. So when she gets home from the work trip, she tries to initiate with Chris again, and this time it does work, according to Chris. They did have sex, and then they went to sleep. And now this was very early in the morning, like
it was 2 a.m. when she got home.
Yeah. So it's amazing to me that so much happened this night in such a short period of time.
This whole case happened, like, it was like solved in like 2.5 days, 3 days, and then a couple months later he's sentenced. Like, it's just crazy.
It was so fast.
Quick.
It was so wild. I think that just shows what an idiot Chris is. He was not capable of doing anything planning or guile, or which great, good. We want to be able to bring him to justice, but it's just kind of shocking how bad he was at this.
Yeah.
But also was able to get things going very quick that night, because she comes home at 2 a.m., gets into bed, they have sex. The rest of the story comes from Chris. Yeah. I think including the sex part, right? So all of that from the doorbell camera on is Chris's story.
Yeah, his version, which...
And
some of this...
He has told so many different stories and lied about so many different things. It's hard to tell exactly what is truth and what is made up.
Yeah.
But he said they had sex, they go back to bed, and then less than 3 hours later, Chris wakes up at 5 a.m. for work. He says he wakes up Shanann just hours after they had sex, and also she got home at 2 a.m. from a work trip, and pregnant. I'm sure she was, exhausted at this point. So the question is, did he even wake her up?
I don't think so,
I don't think so, because he didn't have any defensive wounds. But he says he woke her up, and he's feeling at this point, again, like he's cheated on Nicole. because he's started up that relationship and now he's had sex with Shanann and he's feeling guilty about that. So he wakes Shanann up and tells her he's having an affair and he wants a divorce. He claims that she's obviously upset because she's 15 weeks pregnant and they just slept together. Like, tired, exhausted, pregnant, and finally just like reclaim some of that intimacy in their relationship, only to find out he wants to end things. Like, who wouldn't feel hurt and betrayed? He claims that he just tells her, yeah, I'm going to be with this other girl. I don't love you anymore. I'm going to be with Nicole. He says that Shanann fires back at him and says that if that's the case, he will never see his children again. And I think there was previous times, like in text messages maybe, where she had said that in anger.
Doesn't make what he did right at all.
No.
Like, you just go to court. She can't decide that either.
Right.
The court will decide, like...
Exactly. Yeah, no one gets to say you can't see your kid and just say it. Like, it's a legal process, and I don't know if it's because she said it then or if it's because she said it previously or just because he hated Shanann so much, but he strangles Shanann to death and then later kills the girls. I think they're just like little carbon copies of Shanann. Like, you just see their little faces and they just look beep, beep, like they just look like, I just see her face in them like so much. And I think his hatred of Shanann just like spilled over on the girls, which just,
that's insane.
It just breaks my heart so much. And I kind of think, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I kind of think that his parents also didn't like the girls because they looked like Shanann or reminded them of Shanann, or because the girls were there, then Shanann always was going to be in their life. Like, it's just so disgusting.
Yeah.
We don't think that he even woke up Shanann. We don't think that they had that argument at that time. He was just such a pushover and so submissive and could never even say, hey, do you want to go to the movies, to his wife. I don't see him saying, I don't want to be with you anymore, I want a divorce. Like, I just don't think that ever happened.
Also, just, she had no defensive wounds on her, and it takes 2 to 5 minutes to strangle somebody.
Yeah. And
so I think he waited until she was asleep, and then, tried to do it as fast as possible, and she probably didn't know what was happening, and it just happened so fast. At a time when she was, like, exhausted, she's pregnant, she's traveled, it's late at night, they just had sex, like, she's exhausted, she's gonna be in a deep sleep, and over again, he describes getting on top of her and strangling her. And like you said, it takes 2 to 5 minutes. Like, there's so much opportunity in every step that he took for him to have stopped. And he didn't. He just kept going and going and going. So he strangled Shanann, which killed her. And then, of course, she's pregnant with baby Nico, and that caused him to die as well. So Chris just did all of this in the absolute worst way possible. He kills Shanann first, and then Bella happens to come into the room and sees Shanann. And Chris even said that the girls ask him, like, is mommy, what's going on with mommy? Is she going to be okay? Stop. Because she'd had a lot of health concerns. Maybe they had seen her not feeling well before. Yeah. Just what a terrifying, horrible night for these girls. Poor little girls. And they should have been able to rely on their daddy to protect them more than anybody else in the world. And he ended up being the most dangerous person for them. He wrapped Shanann up in sheets from their bed, pulled his truck in backwards. I think he also put trash bags on her body. Oh, did he? Yeah. And because he said something about how he didn't want the girls to have to see her like that in the truck. They'd already seen her. And he put Shanann at their feet. Right. Below the car seats. Yeah, he specifically put them right there where they could see her. So disgusting. Yeah. And they were probably so confused. He says that they slept on that ride. I don't know. Think so. Yeah. I bet they were scared and confused and crying the whole time. And probably asking, why is mommy at our feet? Yeah. It just sucks so much. So he backs his truck into the garage because everybody has a Ring cam, everybody's got a doorbell cam, and he knows that he needs to be sneaky, and he loads Shanann into the car, like you said, right in front of the girls' car seats, and then puts 4-year-old Bella and 3-year-old Cece into their car seats, each with their favorite blanket that they sleep with. This man is just so monstrous. Was that his last little gift to them? Here's your comfort blanket. Was it just routine? I don't know, but that's just horrible. So the drive from their house out to the oil field was a 50-minute drive. He had so much time to think. He even said later
he wondered if he could have saved his children's life on this car ride.
No, he fucking didn't.
Well, I don't know, but like he was saying, like, could I have changed things? Like, could I have done things different? Like, yeah, hello, from every step of the way, this was all you. Like, no one.
I just feel like he's saying that to be like, oh, I thought about it. Like, I tried to fix it, but I couldn't.
Absolutely.
And it's like, no, dude, you're fucking disgusting.
Yes, he's so whiny. Everything. He has never, I feel, expressed actual remorse for killing Shanann, Nico, Bella, and Cece.
Yeah.
He's never said, I'm so sorry for what I did to them. I'm so sorry I made them so afraid. I'm so sorry I didn't protect them. You know, how frightening for them, what they must have felt. He has said, like, I'm sad they're not here, or I'm sad I can't, you know, give them their snacks, or like just stupid things.
Weird
right? But
things.
It's always about him.
Yep.
How he's sad, and to kind of garner sympathy from everybody else. And like, no one should ever feel any sympathy for you, no matter what happens from here on out.
And it just was so deliberate.
I just could never feel sympathy for him, no matter what happens to him.
50 minutes.
Right. That is
50 minutes
a long time
to change your mind about killing your little girls.
Right.
And they were only 4 and 3 years old. Like, that's such a long time.
Just so
that
little.
You could have changed your mind and done anything else. But I think he went through with it because he didn't want to be the one, he didn't want to be the wife killer. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he had, the plan to blame it on Shanann, but it just worked out like that,
Yeah.
Well, it makes me wonder, did he have that plan? Because they would have to be dead for him to have his excuse of killing her. Right?
Right.
So there's no way around that for him to get away with it, quote unquote.
It's just crazy. Nicole Kessinger, the mistress, in later interviews made a comment that, like, of course she wanted to be with Chris, but she kind of, it was just kind of a shame that he was, like, already married, already had kids, and it would just be nice to do something with someone who hadn't had all those things already. And so it kind of makes me think that she had voiced those things to Chris, and that then he's trying to wipe all of these things, his wife and his children, out of his life so that he can have this clean slate with Nicole. And it's just so disgusting.
And he did say in interviews that he knew the night before it was going to be his last night, tucking in those girls.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was just planning on killing them, or I wonder how far he had thought into this, because we'll get into it, but he does request to work alone at that oil field that morning.
Yeah.
So how far in advance had he planned this? Like,
right before Shanann had even gotten home from the airport that night, he'd called his boss and said, hey, I'll go to this spot on the oil field. And normally they would go to, they would have a team, they would go with buddies. Yeah. And he specifically said, I'll go by myself.
And that was before Shanann even got home.
That was before Shanann got home. So it was definitely premeditated.
That's fucking chilling.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I've got like goosebumps. Oh my God.
He's just like, I don't know if we'll ever be able to top this as the most vile case that we ever talk about. It's just so bad and so low. It's really unspeakable. So after that very long car ride, 50 minutes to get out to the oil field, he decides to go through with it and to continue hurting his family even more. He smothers Cece with her blanket, and then he smothers Bella. So Bella had to watch while Cece died. Chris even later said that Bella said, Daddy, no. And is the same thing going to happen to me as Cece?
I can't even with that. That's so insane.
It's just so heartbreaking.
She doesn't know, she might not even know what death is, but she knows it's bad and it's scary.
She's scared. And how frightening that someone you're supposed to be able to trust and rely on is hurting your sister and gonna hurt you.
And just how confusing.
Yes.
For an adult to get murdered, like, that's confusing, but to be a child and not even understand death fully, and it's the one man who's supposed to protect you.
Yeah. It's just devastating. After he had murdered the girls, Chris buried Shanann in a shallow grave and then placed Bella and Cece in separate oil tanks. So he deliberately separated them.
Yeah, that was really sad. They were next to each other, but they were separated.
Right. So the easiest thing would have been to put Shanann in the grave and to put the girls in the grave. and they could at least be together.
Also, why didn't he put them both in one tank? Why was he separating them? I feel like he was trying to
seems like
distance
deliberate.
himself
Yeah.
from all of this somehow mentally, and I don't know, it's just weird. What was his thought process with that?
He mentioned something about like he didn't want them to see each other, but they'd already seen.
You just made Bella watch you murder Cece.
Right.
That makes no sense.
No. He's just a
full
liar.
Of shit.
He's just such a liar. And the hole in the top of the, what are they? Are the oil tanks?
Yeah.
The top of the oil tank is 8 inches. So like this big.
Yeah.
This big. And that's what he shoved these little girls through.
Yeah. So Cece was only 3. She was smaller, so it sounded like she went through a little easier. And unfortunately, Bella was 4, so she was bigger. And she had marks on her body from being shoved through, and apparently a tuft of hair was ripped from her head. So he, also in the interview, they ask him, did you have to, like, maneuver them? Did you have to kind of, they don't use the word shove because they're trying to get him to confess everything.
They're always, like, so placating with him and, like, so understanding just to trick him into saying it.
But he says, he's like, oh, no. It's like, bitch, evidence doesn't lie.
Right.
We know exactly what you did.
Yeah. It's just so disgusting.
All right. So we captioned this part, BFF to the rescue. Obviously, the next day, he goes to work. I guess he didn't come home. He took their bodies and drove there, and then started working.
Going into work. Insane.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, let me make disposing of these bodies convenient, and I'll just do it out when I get to work.
Also,
just the carelessness and the callousness is insane.
And just how dumb he is. Like, okay, they might not find the girls' bodies in the oil tanks, but he barely buried Shanann. And when they found her, the sheets were like flapping in the wind.
And that's how they found her, because like a drone flew over and could see the sheets. So, like, how long could she have stayed covered?
Yeah, I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with this, or, like, if they were eventually found, how he was going to explain away why they were at his work site. That makes no sense.
That he's on the schedule for.
He's like, this makes sense. I'll get away with this.
I'm so smart.
So, Chris completely checked out of his marriage, so he didn't even know that Shanann had an ultrasound appointment that next day. So, Shanann had great friends, and her best friend Nicole Atkinson was worried because she had dropped off Shanann at 2 a.m. the night before, and Shanann wasn't feeling super great because she's pregnant, and Nicole knew that she had a doctor's appointment in the morning, so she's texting and just not really hearing anything back. So she decided to go over to the house, and she sees Shanann's car in the driveway. She sees Shanann's shoes by the door, and there's no answer. She actually had the code to the house, but we find out later that she couldn't get in because there's those little locks that are like in hotels that you slide over.
Oh, like a chain.
Yep, and you have to do it from the inside, and so that was locked, so she couldn't actually get in. So she calls Chris, and investigators have said that Nicole's quick action disrupted whatever plans Chris might have had to try to get away with this. So shout out to Nicole Atkinson. Yeah, BFF to the rescue. Shout out to Nicole Atkinson.
Yeah.
Because it's 2018, so much of this case is on video, and I really recommend watching some of this. It's very interesting to see his body language and all of that. I've already posted some clips on our Instagram and TikTok at Someone You Know podcast, so check that out as well. I believe Nicole calls police for a wellness check.
Yes.
And one officer shows up, and so Nicole Atkinson, her son Ben, is there with her as well. So she's called Chris, and he just says, I don't know where she is. Like, what do you want from me, basically?
Right. Why are you bothering me?
Yeah. So this officer comes over, and it's a wellness check, so he's banging on the doors, the windows, and, you know, Nicole tells him that she's pregnant and she has lupus, so they're afraid that she might be hurt or ill somehow, and so he's trying to be loud enough that maybe one of the kids will hear him and open the door. Yeah, so they realize that it's locked from the inside, so they can't get in. So Chris finally leaves work to come look for his wife and kids, saying he's concerned too, but he's 50 minutes away. So while they're waiting for Chris to come, they're still banging on the doors and windows, and because of this, their neighbor Nate comes out, curious about what's happening, and Nicole's son Ben starts to fill in the neighbor Nate about Chris and Shanann's rocky marriage because she's missing, and that's suspicious, and Yeah, why wouldn't you talk
Big
about
time.
that?
Yeah.
What was interesting to me was if I was at work 50 minutes away and somebody called and said, we can't find your husband, we're at the house, we're afraid maybe, he's hurt or something, I would say, go in.
Break down the door.
Break a window.
Break a window. Get in there.
Yeah. So obviously from the get, he's being very suspicious.
Yeah.
And also just not knowing about his wife's baby appointment helped him get caught sooner because he didn't have time to plan and cover things up. Also, I am wondering if he even slept that night because she came in at 2 a.m. They had sex, and then, I don't know, maybe he sat around thinking about what he was going to do, but, it's only a couple hours until he had to be up at 5, so I'm wondering if he even slept at all.
Right.
That probably helped him get caught as well. So when the police get to the home, Chris has to pretend that he's worried. Basically, they're waiting for Chris to come.
And Nicole even had Shanann's mom on the phone, and Shanann's mom is like, I'm her mother. I give you permission to break into the house.
Yeah.
And that wasn't enough for police. They had to have permission from the homeowner or like proof of distress on inside. So that's why they had to wait for Chris. But
yeah, because it was just a wellness check at this point. They had no idea.
It's just so interesting to see the difference in like the way that Nicole Atkinson is acting and Shanann's mom and the other neighbors are so concerned about Shanann, and then Chris is like, I don't know where they could be. Probably somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, he's trying to play it off so cool, like, oh, if I just act like it's not a big deal, everybody else will think it's not a big deal.
Right.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, he's like, maybe we should check about where she like normally drives around. I don't know.
Yeah, just so nonchalant about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and when, like you said, when Chris gets the call, he doesn't tell them to go ahead and break in. He's like, oh, I'll be there in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And
so
Shanann has lupus. She has medication that she's supposed to take every day, like...
Yeah, so obviously we know he's guilty, and that's why. But you'd think that he would be like, oh, let me put up the guise of caring.
Right.
And I don't know.
And as we all know, when someone dies, the spouse, the husband, or the wife is the first suspect.
Yep. Usually.
And so police are looking at him first, even if just to clear him.
Yeah.
But he is so suspicious right from the get-go.
Yeah, and that's also, I think the lack of sleep helped a little bit because, you're not thinking clearly about exactly what you're doing, so.
Yeah, and I guess when Nicole was on the phone with Shanann's mom said that she had talked to Chris earlier that morning, and he told her that Shanann had gone to meet a friend because she probably calls her mom all the time.
Yeah.
And her mom's going to be wondering, why she's not calling her, which is so interesting that he would make up that additional lie.
Yeah, it happened so fast. He didn't have time to plan.
Right.
I think
he's so dumb.
Yeah. And obviously he planned to murder them.
Yeah.
But I think he kind of stopped there. He planned what he was going to do, but he didn't plan the aftermath, and he thought he was going to have time.
When Chris finally gets there, he's not even in a hurry. He gets out slowly. He walks out of his car and even messes around on the passenger side. He doesn't rush to get into the house. Meanwhile, everyone else is in a panic because Shanann could be hurt or dying. And then also the little girls are in there with, if Shanann's incapacitated with no grown-up, everyone else is in a panic, but Chris could just care less. He's definitely stalling. And Chris greets the officer and then hits the garage door button. He rushes to be the first one in. And the cop can't go until he is invited in because right now he doesn't have any probable cause. At this point, it's just a welfare check. So Chris shuts the door and is in the house for 1 minute and 15 seconds alone. Then he finally comes around and opens the front door. Nicole is asking if she can go in. The cop says that you have to wait and see what Chris says. Nicole is on the phone with Shanann's mom, who says, just go into my daughter's house, please. So she does.
So this is where we're going to have to end for part 1 of Chris and Shanann Watts. So real quick, we want to start this new thing where we shout out one of our fans in each episode. So we just want to shout out Jewel, who left us a really nice message on Spotify. She said, incredible first episode. I'm excited to see where you guys take the podcast. So thank you so much for listening, Jewel.
Yeah, thank you.
So exciting to read stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just remember to stay safe, trust your instincts, and remember it could be someone you know.
We want to give you a little bit of resources before we end today. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, stalking, or harassment, there are organizations that can help. If you're in the United States, you can call or text the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-SAFE. That's 800-799-7233. We'll include those links in the show notes and on our Instagram, where you can follow us at Someone You Know Podcast. You can also email us with suggestions at someoneyouknowpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.